What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Wednesday, July 26, 2017. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside my Irish cream.
What up?
Danny O'Dwyer.
I'm full of cream this morning. Those donuts
That's
were
gross.
just...
Don't say that.
It's just seeping out of me.
If you missed the Kinda Funny morning show, donuts from Seattle were delivered, and they were huge and fantastic, and they're good. You have a little bit of glaze right here on your shirt. Hold on, come on.
It's flavor saver. I want to suck on that later.
All right, you lean right into it.
Yeah.
Usually I'm the guy who does that. You do it. Danny O'Dwyer, it's your first show of the week. How are you?
Great, real good. Played a bunch of games over the weekend.
I was going to say, did you do your homework?
I did.
We sent you off to play Fortnite.
I did.
You played it.
I played Fortnite.
What'd you think?
The video that is a video game that's out. You can go play right now.
Exactly.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
First of all, it is. I don't know what it is about Epic, but whoever designs their UI and stuff, everything about that game is so clicky, and like the way things open and pop and the UI, it's just fucking brilliant.
Right. So I had a Judges Week, and that was we didn't play it, and I watched it, and I was like, this actually looks cool. Like, I'm not this guy. I'm not the base building multiplayer dude. But I was like, this looks like a cool game. It looks like it's got cool systems.
And it is like you said, a base building multiplayer game, but it's like kind of different to lots of them in that it's like it's not Minecraft in that you're building something and going back to it and tweaking it.
Yeah.
Like, it's from what I've played, at least anyway, it's very much like, okay, here's a level where this is happening here. Here's a level where this is happening. Build one here, and then we'll go to the next one, and then you build it here. And then you've kind of got different. There's like a single player essentially campaign that people then jump in and out of, right?
Okay.
Which is like different levels, and you have to do different stuff and like research different things. There's a lot going on. It kind of looks like it's got this like cartoonish feel to it that I sort of thought, oh, it's going to be quite accessible and easy and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I think the ramping into it is good. Like, it teaches you really well, but there's a lot of stuff going on in that game. Like, it's almost like, oh, do I want to keep playing this because I know where it's going?
Is it time suck, and you're gonna have to get really down the rabbit? You think you'll go back to it?
I think I'm gonna go back just because I'm like fascinated as to where it goes. I've said it before. Like, I'm not the type of person who plays a lot of co-op games online. I tend to solo a lot of stuff, and I think I'm probably not getting the most out of it that way. But if you're the type of person who like enjoys playing with your friends and it just has an affinity for this sort of stuff, it seems like purpose made for a certain type of person.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's good. It's like, there's nothing about it I'm saying, oh, I wish they could change that or this. I just not necessarily think I'm
you're not the target audience. Yeah.
But it's a really solid package. It's one of these things that's like, oh, sometimes when games are in alpha for a long time, the game that comes out at the end is like super polished. Yeah. And that's what this feels like. It feels like, oh yeah, they alpha and beta the shit out of this.
That's good. That's good. That's a nice change of pace.
Right.
From early access,
totally.
Here's this beta build, jump into this thing.
Right. Yeah.
And then what else have you been playing?
Played some Pyre.
Okay, and thoughts. This is Andrea and I talked about this yesterday. She was early on in it. I had done a Let's Play forever ago about it. I love Supergiant. I respect them. Yeah. This is similar to what you're talking about with Fortnite, where I was like, this doesn't seem like a Greg Miller kind of game, but it seems cool, and I'm glad it's reviewing well. What's your take?
I never really played much Bastion. I adored Transistor.
Okay.
So I have like a big Transistor poster in my house.
Okay.
I fucking
Have you ever thought about going
game.
back to Bastion? Bastion's great. It's on
I
Vita.
should. I think the reason I enjoyed Transistor so much is that I had not played Bastion, so I got all of that goodwill with it as well. And I love Supergiant Games, and obviously, like, I'm a huge fan of Greg Kasavin. Used to be editor of over GameSpot. Huge like professional, sort of hero of mine. But I do like this game. I think the reason I tried Transistor is because I'm not really into that type of combat, and I sort of enjoyed it. The sports element of this, I'm actually way more into and familiar with. Yeah.
Okay.
Weirdly enough, I mentioned Speedball a couple of weeks ago on this show. Yeah. As an old Amiga game. It's basically a version of Handball, and that's kind of what this is like. It's like a 3-person version of Speedball. Okay. I like that, like the sort of sport part of the game. I do like the overworld aspect of it as well. I like the story. I think the characters are really well written, and the art is just, again, fucking incredible.
Course,
and they make stuff pop. Same thing. Opening a book is like, it's like you can tell.
So
that,
rewarding
like,
to open a book.
You can tell he plays a lot of Dota. Like it's that type of feeling to it. So I'm actually really into it. I'm not that far, and I'm not sure how long I'll be. The trick will last. Like, I'm not sure if after I've played like 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 of the sports games, because I'm actually rethreading a lot of ground. I played the alpha of this about a year ago, so I've actually played almost exactly what I played last time. So I'm not sure how long it'll last, but yeah, I'm super into it.
While you're there, you're enjoying it.
Yeah, if nothing else, like, I love games that are a breath of fresh air. Like, I can't name a game that's like this. Like, It's,
Rocket League.
Right? Like, probably, right?
Yeah, I mean, just in terms of quirkiness, and we're taking a sport and shoving you into this thing. Like, that doesn't sound like it would work, but
totally,
clearly it is for people.
But it's just doing its own thing. So
this weekend, I hope to give it a better shake.
Yeah, I think it's. I don't know how long the trick will last, and hopefully it'll keep it up. But yeah, gorgeous. It's such a good game. It's a fun game just to be in.
Well, if you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kinda Funny Games Daily each and every weekday here. On a variety of platforms, we jump into the incredibly nerdy news you need to know about, all about video games, dig in there, give you some insight, have some conversations with you, and have a good old time. If you like that, you can watch us record it live at twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. However, we don't look at the chat because we're making a professional podcast. So if we screw anything up, you need to go to kindafunny.com/you're wrong. Thank you, mods, for clearing out the chat and taking care of all that over there. You go there, you tell us what we got wrong, we see it, and we read it at the end of the show, and we feel bad because we're stupid. If you don't want to watch it live, no big deal. You can get it on youtube.com/kindafunnygames every day, and podcast services around the globe. And no matter where you consume it, please rate, subscribe, share the other ones. If you got Amazon Prime, go over to Twitch and give us your Twitch Prime. You get a free subscription. It's pretty great. Party mode is up right now on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. Check that out. Over on our Patreon pages, Kinda Funny Live 3 is up as well. It'll be up Monday on YouTube for everybody for free. But for now, let's begin the show with what is,
we got last
and forever will be, the Roper Report. That's such a sad one. Time for some news. What's wrong, Kev?
A long day.
I can't wait to hear Cool Greg's one.
It's time. Beep. It's time, beep. I believe I didn't number them today. I screwed that up. Sorry. 3 items on the Roper Report.
A baker's dozen.
Still, that was a beaten one too. Kevin's still struggling out there.
Hump day.
Nintendo's latest earnings report is out, and guess what? Switch sales are insane. 4.7 million Switches have been sold since the March release. That's up 1.97 million in the last fiscal quarter. 3.54 million units of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in April release have been sold. That means 3/4 of Switch owners now own Mario Kart 8.
That's absurd,
right? It gets worse hold on. We're gonna wait till you get to Zelda. 1.18 million units of ARMS have been sold in the 2 weeks between June 18th's release and the end of the quarter, June 30th. 1.16 million units of Zelda have been sold this quarter, bringing the life-to-date sales of that to 3.92 million. That means about 83% of Switch owners own Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Who's that 70%?
Who's just like, I'm good.
I'm here for ARMS.
I got a graceful explosion machine. Got a couple cool downloads on anything else. Amiibos have sold 1.6 million figures this quarter. Downloadable games across all Nintendo platforms made about $98 million US. And then IGN says all of that translates into good news for Nintendo's finances, primarily because of Switch's hardware and software sales. Nintendo took in about $1.4 billion in US revenue and made $190 million US profit. That is a 149% increase in revenue compared to the same time last year.
Well, I guess that worked out.
Jesus.
What is it about Nintendo? We just can't ever predict, pin them down. No. Totally.
Yeah, totally. They are such a fascinating company and everything that happens and how they do this, because it was that thing of, all right, cool, we use tanking. This next thing will have to be their last gasp and see how it goes. Rumors leading up to it, it's going to be this portable hybrid. We're all like, that sounds awesome. Yep. There's the reveal event. We're like, what the fuck was that? And then you get it, and it's like, everybody's like, oh, well, this is fucking amazing. Yeah. It's got two great games, and we're all good. And I don't care that it's ARMS and it's Splatoon and like Mario's coming in. Yeah. What else are we going to get in the future? And here comes a Metroid. It's like, Jesus Christ.
And look, here's one of the best games ever, maybe.
Right? Yeah. It's not even just a Zelda. It's one of the best games of all time.
Totally. Yeah, I love everything about all of these figures. One of my favorite ones is the Amiibos. Yeah. Because I went Amiibo crazy when all the Zelda Amiibos came out, and I wonder if a lot of people did too. I bought like every one of them.
Were you doing the thing every day where you were tagging them in?
Totally, yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. In fact, I not to plug my stuff, but my new show went up today, Danny's Disc Club, and the intro was basically me scanning them in, because I'd have like a timer set, so every 24 hours I'd be able to like
fucking dork.
You gotta get that. You gotta make them pay for themselves.
Yeah.
But like, I think everyone just went Nintendo crazy. Like, when you get a new console as well, you do sort of buy stuff that you might not necessarily a year in.
Launch lineups, man. Yeah, you want to
try to get them all, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm actually really fascinated that many copies of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe have been sold, because I haven't bought that yet. I had it on Wii U.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, it just feels like, oh, I got to get it again. But obviously, that probably says a lot about the amount of people who have Switches who didn't have a Wii U.
Exactly, who didn't care, right? Or yeah, they didn't have a Wii U, didn't play enough. I'm one of the guys who had a Wii U, and I love Mario Kart. I had Mario Kart 8, and it was one of those things I just disliked the Wii U experience so much that I never played it. Yeah. And so then to get it here and go crazy for it and have everybody playing in the office and be all about it, yeah.
It's amazing.
I like Mario Kart always is a system seller slash, kills it on a platform. I'm more impressed with ARMS, 1.18 million. That's a nice number for a brand new franchise. That's this weird fighting games, and that's in 2 weeks. That's not like extended out over this whole thing. That's crazy number right there.
It's strange. I'm heading off on another trip at the end of this week, and every single time I do, the last thing I do before I go is go, all right, which games am I gonna get? Like games I haven't bought yet. Like ARMS, and I'm probably gonna get Mario Kart now eventually.
Hell yeah.
Just to get through it, because it's become like this thing now. Whenever I go anywhere, I'll great, Switch time. I'll go on a plane, or I'll be sitting down, like I'll read a book for a while, and then I'll crack this thing out as well. But it's weird. It's only become that. I never play in front of a television on this.
Really?
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you?
I did with Mario Kart. I did. Zelda for me was primarily I'm only playing it on the go as a handheld. TV or something's on. I'm doing this. Or I'm playing. I'm in the office. And then it was when Kevin and I did Zelda as a week of streams. That was the first time where I was like, oh, I'm playing on a TV, and this is weird. This is interesting. But going home, I was rarely motivated to. With Kart for sure, where I'd play it if I was on the go. But then coming home or doing Let's Plays or whatever, I would definitely plug it in. ARMS for the majority of the time that I played, it was one plane ride handheld, and then when I was at people's houses at Scotland, we were playing over there on that stuff. But outside of that, I would say the Switch is my handheld. You know what I mean? In terms of that, like I carried the Vita with me on the last trip because there's a couple things I'd fallen behind on. But if I'm jumping in, I loaded up the Switch with like Cave Story Plus and a couple other different things, and it was like, jump cut to me on the plane and just playing Minecraft again, because I'm like, well, Minecraft looks great here and it runs so well and it's beautiful. It's like, it's crazy what that system's doing. And it leads us to our first question. Of course, you can submit your questions over at kindafunny.com/KFGD, just like Dark did. And says, where do you boys see the Switch in 3 years? With Pokemon coming out in 2018, yes, it will come out in 2018. Can we see 15 million units a year? Or more than 15 million units a year.
Right.
In other words, hashtag Colin was wrong.
Right.
Cheers, guys. Love of the show. Keep up the good work. What is the ceiling, you think, for the Nintendo Switch? Where is this going to plot out? I put on the rundown today. I went over to Wikipedia, got the top consoles right now. I was going to do top 10, but PlayStation 4 is at number 12 right now with 60 million. I was like, well, I'll include it there.
Yeah.
So that gives you an idea of where it's at, right? 60 million is PlayStation 4. NES is 61.91 million, 66.12 for 3DS, and it goes on and on until you get to, of course, PlayStation 2 with greater than 155 million units moved.
Right. Yeah.
Where do you think Switch actually ends up going?
So, like, the interesting thing that's happening here is that we hardly ever see this happen with consoles in at least the sort of more modern era, which is that people are adopting it right now.
Yeah.
It's not like PlayStation 4 or Xbox One where there was, the hardcore fans jumped in, but then you had a lot of people saying, oh, I'll wait another 6 months until some extra games come out, the library gets a little fatter, and I can enjoy it then. Same thing happened with the 360, definitely with the PlayStation 3. This feels more like the DS, which was selling, and kind of the Wii, I get that. The Wii had its own weird mainstream popularity thing, which I'm not really sure if that's going to happen.
The crossover. I don't think it will.
Yeah.
This isn't one that my mom's interested in.
No. And that's sort of where I think you need to see the comparisons with the Wii and DS, like where it lands, right? I think for gamers or whatever I can never think of it, core gamers or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, whatever.
People who are into this sort of shit and will play like a game like Zelda Breath of the Wild. I think it's going to sell absolute hotcakes. It's going to do really well. The library's already there. No matter what, people will want to buy this thing to play Zelda even in 3 years' time.
100%.
Like, I think it's when Mario Odyssey comes in, it's just going to become such like a easy buy because it's relatively cheap in comparison to a lot of the other consoles, and the library is there.
Yeah.
Whether or not it gets into that other stratosphere depends on whether or not we get something like Brain Age or whether we get something like Wii Sports, which taps into a sort of less core gamer, more mainstream entertainment enthusiast sort of market. And I think that's where it's like a YouTube video where like it does well, and then when it reaches a certain threshold, it just sort of goes, and it enters the wider consciousness and then kind of does that, right? It's the same thing with these consoles. And like they have been selling this very much as, we're doing Nintendo stuff that Nintendo used to do, and we've got new ideas and new people taking the stuff that you did like about Nintendo in the past and reinvigorating it.
Yeah.
They've never tried to do the Wii U thing of we're making this for everyone just like the last one.
Yeah.
So I wonder if like a year into this, is there a bit of a pivot where they're like, all right, we've satiated everyone who actually was Nintendo fans, right? And now we're going to try and get out there and get something else. But I'm not really sure.
The thing about Nintendo and what they're doing here is that Nintendo nostalgia runs so deep in the way that I think the biggest problem the Switch faces right now is the kink in its pipeline of production.
Right.
I think the fact that they've been able to do, we're just going to round up to 5 million Switches since March, right? That's basically 4 months since July when these numbers were, or this is actually by the end of June, I guess.
Right.
So, but you know, whatever. 4 months, we're going to say 5 million units, right? That's insane. That means everything that's getting out is getting sold for the most part.
Yeah.
And so if they can, as we get closer and closer to holiday, like the demand just builds and builds and builds. So every unit Nintendo's able to get out for the holidays is going to get snatched up. Meaning that I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility that we cross with pretty ease, I would say 10 million by the end of the year. If they can get it out, if they can get that additional 5 million, a little bit more than 5 million out there and get it, I think they'll sell them because I think there's enough of our audience that's like, I can't find it, I can't do anything. And then there's always the one kid who's like, well, here I am in Wisconsin at Walmart and there's a million of them. I'm like, well, sell them on eBay, you idiot. They're all over the place. And then to the, you know, Dark's question, then he's talking about in 2018 we'll get a Pokemon. I'm not so sure about that date. I want to take that to the bank just yet. But it is, if we can do 10 million this year, then yeah, I think 15 million by the end of 2018 is definitely is another easy. It's just where the pipeline is. In terms of crossover, though, what gets interesting is, you know, I always use my normal friends back in Missouri who aren't part of this world and don't have 15 YouTube shows.
Right.
And, you know, when the Switch got announced and they named it the Switch finally, even I think it was before, or no, I guess it was, whatever, that event where they named it Switch. I went back to Missouri for something. Or maybe I just got a text message from my friend who is not in video games, doesn't know. She has 3 boys who aren't like video game age really.
Right.
But she hit me up and she's like, so what is going on with this Switch?
Right.
Like, what is this? And I was like, how do you know? That name got announced 2 days ago. Like, that's already gotten to you. That's crazy that. And they have one in their garage on a shelf that is waiting for Christmas to be given to this kid. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
And it's that kind of thing where, you know, again, another friend in Missouri who grew up with Nintendo now has, you know, a 4-month-old that he's got to take care of.
Right.
But is like, holding here, he's like, so what's going on with that Switch? Like, what do they have? It's like, that's going to be one day an impulse buy for him. But then he will walk down the aisle and he'll be like, oh, well, they have Mario Odyssey and they have Zelda and they have Mario Kart and they have Smash of some kind. But it's like, especially when Metroid Prime comes out, there's enough people there that are going to have those great memories of the GameCube era or, you know, SNES or N64, all this nostalgia for what was.
Right.
And then they see it and yeah, it is cheaper than the rest of the consoles. It is something you can take and go. It is everyone in quote is talking about it. It's got, you know, positive word of mouth around it. It's never going to be again where my mom's like, that Switch seems cool. Can you get me one? I'm like, what? No, that was how it was with the Wii and she didn't give a shit about the Wii U. So that's not what we're building towards, but we're building towards something where it's going to be really interesting to see what this is able to do.
There was so much stuff about when the Wii came out originally, and certainly with the DS as well, about how Nintendo were tapping into markets that hadn't really existed before, or like markets that we had assumed were never for video game playing, right? You had basically like, the market was essentially anyone over 30 and women. That's what the mainstream people were saying. It was like, women play video games?
What?
Older people would play, people over 30 would play video games, right? And it sort of deconstructed a lot of these stereotypes we had around, not just people who play games, but also like there are like large portions of the market who have been completely underserved, right?
Yeah.
So with the Switch, then my mind goes back to, because I'm a silly human, and my mind goes back to the patterns of back then and thinking, okay, well, the reason why the DS and the Wii worked really well was because they had control schemes that were simple for people. The Wii was essentially a remote control. Everyone knew how to use that. My grandmother can use one of those.
Yeah,
she did Wii
far
bowling.
less intimidating.
Super
one
less
big
intimidating.
A button on it, a little trigger on the back. Yeah.
And then the DS was essentially like a stylus touchpad, like easy peasy, right? My wife just this past weekend or this week has completed State of Decay. It's the first time she's ever played it like a action game on a controller, and I could see over like 5 days of her playing this game that she got good at like moving the camera and the character, right? But that sort of stuff like is difficult for people. And the Switch, when you look at it, it kind of looks like one of those complex controls. One of these markets I feel like we are sort of like underthinking of a lot now is people who used to play games or grew up in the heyday of games as we did, who have grown up, who have kids, and are sort of like lots of disposable income and are sort of coming back around, because games has had this like crazy mainstream acceptance in the past like couple of years. We've got like esports on ESPN, you know, YouTube gaming, or you know, YouTube and Twitch are basically entirely funneled through video games, right? YouTube is essentially a gaming channel with some people doing makeup tutorials as well, and, movie trailers and stuff. And I wonder like if this is one of the things that gets them back in, because forever it's like PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. It just sounds like barriers. Whereas like, here's a Nintendo thing. It costs $250. It's got all your favorite games on it. Go. Yeah. Like I could totally imagine a huge number of people coming back in.
Yeah. I mean, that was always the weird thing of like, I really thought they were going to call this Nintendo.
Right.
Here's the Nintendo. Yeah. And just go from that. And it would have been even more. But I think, the Switch is an easier concept to wrap your head around. And it is plug and play and then pop it in, pop it out kind of thing. And
right.
That there are way less barriers to entry to getting into a Switch and playing a game.
Totally. You don't have to buy a new television. Like, you forget about all the things that people who don't play games think about. Like, do I have to upgrade my internet now? And like, do I have to buy a better TV for this PS4? There's all these things. Whereas, there's the box. Even the box for the Switch is like so small. Have you noticed how
it's super like, cute and tiny, and there's just hands grabbing it.
It's like an iPad. You pick it up with one hand.
Right? And that's the thing. People can wrap their heads around that. Should not be understated. Once there's a supply out there, it'll be really, really fascinating. Christmas is going to be really interesting too, to see what the market looks like, how much they're promoting it, and where we're going with it.
Sky's the limit. It's a really, really good question. I can't wait to see what the answer is.
Number 2 on the Roper Report. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is getting an invitational. Esports is coming to pub. 80 players playing in 3 game sets to determine the winner. Competitions are in all modes: solo, duo, first-person duo, and squad. The prize pool totals $350,000. The dev is selling cosmetic items to fund the pool, the event organization, and the charities. And it's on August 23rd to the 26th in Cologne, Germany. 7 a.m. It'll be streaming on Blue Hole's channels. Blue Hole, all one word. 7 a.m. Pacific time.
I've never heard somebody say Blue Hole.
Blue Hole. Get on the Blue Hole channel. You know what I'm saying over there?
I went home and got some of that Blue Hole.
I assume you'll be there, Danny, competing. We all know you love Battlegrounds.
Man, I'm not going to Gamescom this year, and now I wish I was.
Yeah.
That's a real pain in the ass, especially because I'm going to be in Poland like 2 weeks before. What the fuck am I doing? This is great. I love this.
That's really cool.
I will watch the hell out of this.
Me too.
I don't watch a lot of competitive stuff. I watch a bit of the Rocket League stuff that was on last week. That's fun. But for whatever reason, that's never really been my jam, even as a Counter-Strike player years ago.
I mean, that's the thing. You know, I feel like it's a theme of like, you know, since we started Kind of Funny Games Daily, this question of like, well, is it going to be Rocket League? Is it what is going to make esports relevant to all? Is it going to be this Overwatch league that now has like, you know, the New England Patriots owner buying teams, or is it now going to be Battlegrounds? This is super interesting for me in the fact that as somebody who still hasn't played Battlegrounds, it's kind of what I'm thinking we're playing tomorrow.
You will soon though, right?
We're playing tomorrow for some
stuff.
That
sounds cool.
And but I get the idea, and I like the idea. I'm just don't want to drag. I'd rather play Friday the 13th because it's turn it on and there it is, and I get to play with the controller.
A lot of games out right now.
I will definitely have this running.
Right.
Like Battlegrounds is fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch people run around and do these crazy things and jump off the motorcycle and land a thing. And then when we get down to the point of here are 80 players that think they're good enough, and especially as you start, you know, culling the herd, like these people are really good at this game. Like, all right.
Can you imagine how tense that like final 3
Hell
people thing is going to be?
Yeah.
Like all that stuff is great. And there's also like all these little, like I'm wondering, are they going to get like the Dr. Disrespects and all these different characters that are in the community to like get involved in this as well? Because I'd love.
Gotta get Alfredo Plays over there.
Totally right.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. There was a little bit of kickback about the crates that they were adding.
Yeah, the cosmetic items that are doing this.
They're only for that weekend, I think.
Okay.
And they're basically like they make it look like Battle Royale the movie. Like there's a bunch of characters in there. It's like, you know, schoolgirl outfit and like all this other like cool leather jackets and stuff. So, you know, hopefully they'll actually PlayerUnknown this morning tweeted that the cars are now going to get horns, which is now basically swayed the tide back on. Okay, we're back in.
Oh, you got horns in there.
That's all you got to do
to
make everyone happy. But I think it's awesome. I'm really interested to see what the first person duo mode is like, because they've not really. I think those servers are in testing at the moment for first person mode. So that's going to be really cool.
As a fan and somebody who plays, how great is the jump between someone who's competent and like, have you seen like videos or anything where like, I don't know how the fuck they're doing this or how they're
no, I think there's 2 elements to the game, like really quickly. One is like your trigger ability, like how you're able to like, you know, point at someone with his head and shoot them. I think understanding the mechanics of the game and getting really good at the process of, okay, I'm going to open this door now, reload the gun, put on my attachment, make sure I've got this attachment for this gun because it works better at this range. Maybe don't enter the houses this way. This is when I I walk. This is where I run so my footsteps aren't heard. That sort of stuff. That's the stuff you kind of learn about the game, which is cool because it's basically like you're learning how the game works in terms of like, not in terms, it's the world. The world, how the world sort of works.
Sure.
So watching streams actually really helps that. That's a really good part of it. So I don't think the jump is that bad. I think, like I said before, when you get in the first point, they sort of pool you with people who are around your entry level, and that helps. But the nature of the game being just like random meetings means that you're often, like, you can tell if you're up against somebody who's really good, and you can tell if you're up against somebody who's dog shit. Like, it's pretty fun.
Like me. And final story on the Roper Report. Pokemon Go is adding new legendaries, they announced via Twitter. Now get ready for some fucking butchered pronunciations here. Battle Articuno and Moltres and Zapdos in raid battles around the world. Articuno's now from 7/31 or from now to July 31st. Moltres is July 31st to August 7th, and Zapdos 8/7 to 8/14. I nail him. You like the Pokemon, Kev?
Zapdos.
Who's Zapdos?
No, DOS. Like the computer program, I think.
MS-DOS, yeah.
All right, so it's a real question.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Thank you. Danny,
did you see what happened in Chicago?
Oh yeah, we've done a whole bunch of stuff on it. Yeah.
Okay.
What a heartbreaker.
I know. Yeah,
it could have been like the coolest event, and then it's just like so marred by everybody. But like, do you watch the video footage from it of the guy? Like, throwing fucking water bottles, yelling at him. Yeah, fix your game. I was like, God damn. Even though, again, I yesterday it didn't make the cut for news because it's not really news. I was going back through because Polygon had a whole bunch of different stories on it, and I think it was Polygon had one yesterday that was like the coolest thing that happened at Pokemon Go. A lot of people missed, and it was that CEO who got booed and all this stuff. He came out on the edge of the stage and just sat Indian style and talked to people for like a long time. Yeah, and I was like, that's actually really cool. He didn't have a microphone, didn't make a big deal about it. Just came out and talked to the audience. I was like, that's cool.
Goodwill. That's good.
So now, Danny, if I want to know what happened over on the Mom and Grop digital shops, where would I go?
The official list of upcoming fell at the first hurdle. Software on each and every platform. Across each and every platform as listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show hosts each and every day.
Nailed it. Stereo with Kevin. Out today. Low Road on PC.
You take the high road.
Thesis? It's not on PSVR. How would you say that?
Theseus.
Theseus? Okay. On PlayStation VR. Vostok Incorporated on Xbox One, PS4. You heard of this game? I hadn't heard it either. Interesting thing, so I jumped into it. It's like a shmup. Like you're running around shooting stuff where you then make money off the things you kill and then spend them in little like Tamagotchi clicky games or mini games. I was like, as soon as I ended it, I went to Twitter and lucky enough the guy followed me and I hit him. I'm like, can I have a code for this? Because this looks dope as fuck.
The graphic on the Steam page looks amazing. Yeah, it's a guy bathing in money.
Exactly. And like that, if you go and like it's a clicker game once you get to, it's like it's a weird mashup. Their website is something like, it's a casual game for hardcore players and shit. His trailer is totally like an 80s thing.
Check it out.
Yeah, exactly. I'll hopefully have some impressions for you tomorrow. But Vostok Incorporated over on Xbox One, PlayStation 4. Eventually coming to Vita, but it doesn't look like that's today.
Oh, really? Okay.
Grid Retro Enhanced is coming to Xbox One. And then Canadian Football 2017 on Xbox One.
Oh my God.
Canadian Football or Vostok?
I've never heard of Canadian football in my life.
Me neither.
Is that just NFL but Canada?
I mean, there's the Canadian Football League. Yeah, right. I don't know if it's CFL.
They have like a bigger field.
They have a bigger field, Kevin?
Bigger field? There's moose all over it?
Yes, there's a lot of that.
Maple syrup?
Exactly. It's like stick them on the ball.
Poutine. Trophies.
They got Maple Leaf. That's in the center of everyone.
Daniel from The Bachelor is the referee.
Instead of Gatorade, it's poutine on the sidelines. Yeah. Molson on the sidelines. That would have been better. Fuck, I fucked it up.
Canucks.
Anyways, I'm sad that's only coming to Xbox One because I'd play some Canadian football and get some trophies.
Right. Why is it like there's a fucking Microsoft with those hot exclusives?
That's how they're doing it. Unless maybe, hold on. No, I don't think it would. Check it. Yeah, go ahead and check the PlayStation blog and see if maybe this is one of those where it came out yesterday on PlayStation. It comes out today on Xbox One, so I'm only getting it the Xbox One announcement. That could be very possible. Remember, kindoffunny.com/. you're wrong.
Let us know.
Let us know if we screwed something up.
Know,
While you look around for that, new dates we have here. This is super exciting. If you watched my favorite things I played at E3 video, A Hat in Time is now officially coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One this fall. It was only coming to PC before.
Oh, cool.
It's been added there. When I sat down to play that, it's an indie game, and the guy's like, hey, this is a game that's like Super Mario 64. And I was like, that's some high praise. I'll be the judge. And sure enough, you're running around, dashing across things, jumping to do, wearing different hats. They give you different powers. There's a whole bunch of comedy to it. It's definitely on my radar. On my radar, which is already on the Switch, which I told you all about and I liked a lot. Graceful Explosion Machine is coming to PlayStation 4 August 8th now. Check that one out. Loved it on Switch. Excited for trophies. And then Spark is coming to PlayStation VR. This is from CCP, of course, the people who do like Eve stuff, their Atlanta office, on August 29th. And it's a sporty little game. And then this is one I didn't know where to put this, but I tossed in here. Xbox One added backwards compatibility for these games: Red Faction Armageddon, Gyrus, and Raiden 4. Or Raiden 4? Raiden 4, yeah. Stupid fucking Raiden or Raiden.
Yeah, I got details. Sorry, it took an incredible amount of time to try and figure out.
You're over there hacking the planet. I understand how it goes.
Do you want to know the deets? It is out on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and on PC.
It is on PlayStation 4. Excellent.
They don't have the license for the CFL, so you can edit it on PC, but you won't be able to on the other two.
Does it look garbagey or does it look good?
I mean, it looks like a football game that came out maybe 4 or 5 years ago. But like, if you're into CFL, then that's rad, I guess. I don't know.
I'm not trying to get a code because I would like to jump in as an American football fan and not know really any of the changes for Canadian football and see what happens.
Right.
How can I hang? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Madden's coming up.
Probably all those tiny details.
All the tiny little details. All the snow. Deals of the day. PlayStation Plus games for August have been announced. Just Cause 3 is coming to PlayStation 4. Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry is coming to PlayStation 4.
What the fuck? Which one is that?
I'll get to that in a second. Super Motherload is on PS3. Snakeball is on PS3. Again, I guess these technically have been on those things. Whatever.
Right.
Downwell is a PlayStation Vita game for this, but it's cross-buy with PS4.
Great.
And then Level 22 is a PlayStation Vita game for these PlayStation Plus games that are announced for August. They go live the first Tuesday of August on the PS. I guess that's August 1st on the PlayStation Network store. Now, Luke Feltner 11 wrote into kindafunny.com/KFGD just like you can to be part of the show and says, "Hey Greg and Danny, just recently the PS Plus games for August were announced. Just Cause 3 and more importantly Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry. Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry was a standalone DLC release for Black Flag.
Right.
That being said, do you think this could be the start of DLC being introduced to the PlayStation Plus lineup, or is this just the only other PS4 title Sony could muster?" Well, again, this is where we get into weird territory.
Right.
Just because it's a downloadable game doesn't mean it's DLC.
Right.
Because if this is a standalone thing like Left Behind or now Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, it's that weird. It's DLC implies to me. And I don't fucking say it. You're wrong. You can go to kindafunny.com/KFGD and give me your impression of this. If DLC means I need the other game. This isn't. Once you're standalone, then you're just a downloadable game.
Right.
And I guess technically everything that I download and play, whether it's a standalone game or DLC, is DLC. It's downloadable content. I get that. But DLC implies the content that I need the main game to play it.
I feel weird when people say DLC is even wallpapers as well. To me, DLC is this is the main game, and then you are basically adding add-ons to that game.
Yeah, DLC is add-ons.
Yeah, that seems pretty clear-cut. The expansion pack thing has, way before the internet was even a thing, a distribution model, was always a nightmare for this on PC games, because you often had expansion packs where you needed the base game, and then you often had them where they're like, nah, you don't need it.
Yeah, here you
Not
go.
enough people bought that one, so we're going to do a second bite of it. So, yeah, I mean, you know, Last of Us has done it as well. You know, with standalone DLC, there are a lot of games on the PlayStation platform which have standalone DLCs. We don't have another name for it.
And that's why I made a joke yesterday. We had our friend Sancho West filed a report for Uncharted 4, and we played his preview.
Oh
of it.
Yes, I haven't watched it yet.
And he said in the beginning, like, and Naughty Dog is like changing what DLC. And I was like, I can picture all the Naughty Dog guys cringing. I'm like, it's not DLC, like it's the game. And I'm not that I'm blaming Sancho. It's this weird gray area we still exist in. Whereas I remember, like, do you remember you were working in the industry when you'd be playing an Xbox Live game, you're like, man, this thing is awesome for a downloadable game.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, what's going to be downloadable game of the year? Like, you know what I mean? It was like these were like less than things.
Totally. It's like when you got games on like discs and CDs, you know, that were like full games. I think the fact that like Freedom Cry doesn't have a retail release, I don't think. I've tried to see if it's available. That to me is like...
That's interesting. That
oh no, Freedom Cry will retail? No, that's... Yeah, it says it hasn't. To me, that's like... But then that also complicates it because then what do we say about like The Last of Us's expansion pack? Because that did have a retail release, did it?
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, they put Left Behind, I thought, on a disc at some point.
I think so.
No, maybe they didn't.
It's weird.
Well, the main thing is like, that being said, do you think this is the start of DLC introduces PlayStation Plus lineup? I don't think so, and I don't think it's the start. I
totally.
If I have to dig and dig and dig, but wasn't Far Cry Blood Dragon at one point out there as I think kindoffunny.com/you're wrong as a PlayStation Plus gimme, like, and then has Left Behind been put up as a PlayStation Plus gimme? Like, I feel like the Instant Game Collection has had stuff like this before,
right?
So I don't think I think it's a great idea personally. I didn't realize when I saw that I was like, I saw it in the car on here and I was like, Is that like that Vita thing they put out or whatever?
Liberation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not even Liberation. The one that was like the Diaries or some shit that was like side scroller. I was like, is that what this is?
Oh, and then yes, of course. Yeah.
And then you get here.
China?
Yeah, exactly. They went. Yeah, I think it was. That's where they were.
They made a lot of Assassin's Creed.
They did a lot of stuff with Assassin's Creed. I think it's a really smart idea. You know what I mean in terms of like, hey, we put in a lot of time and work into this, and like, why not get it out?
Give it a second boost. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's check in with the readers, Danny.
Let's do it.
You can be part of the show by going to kindoffunny.com/KFGD. Just like, let's see where I want to start. Oh, here we go. Big Angry Dad 82 did.
Whoa.
He points out that is his gamer tag. Big space angry space dad 82. Dad and 82 are all one word though. Hey, Greg and Danny. Speaking of games people are sleeping on, because he's referencing how I keep talking about Uncharted The Lost Legacy.
Right.
I think you guys and a lot of other people are sleeping on Agents of Mayhem, which comes out in a few weeks on August 15th in the US and August 18th in Europe on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. It's a new game from the Saints Row developers Volition and is heavily based on G.I. Joe and several other 80s/90s Saturday morning cartoons, movies, and TV shows such as Knight Rider, Magnum P.I., Thundercats, Indiana Jones, and The Goonies, to name a few. Is a long sentence. Please give a shout out to this game and the good folks over at Volition, as I am really looking forward to this game and have already pre-ordered my copy, digitally I might add, because I know you guys hate them boxes everywhere too. And I think other people should be getting hyped too, specifically if you're a certain age that remembers these kind of influences fondly.
Right.
Big Angry Dad 82.
He's right.
Is he?
I don't know. Like,
I've seen stuff from Agents of Mayhem and I look at it and go, oof.
Really?
That doesn't look like that's going to be a success.
It's maybe is it the tone?
It's the tone and it's the gameplay looks really generic. It looks like it's not Saints Row, but trying to be Saints Row. And mind you, I have not touched the sticks on this. I've seen controllers. Last year at the GameStop Expo, Tim and I worked the Square Enix conference room or whatever. So like we were briefed on the game. I watched the trailer a bunch of times and was like, is this? It strikes me as like, it's multiplayer. What is it?
It looks like Crackdown.
Yeah,
it looks like a big open city, kind of like near future-ish multiplayer, very character based, like the Magnum PI character and the such and such. And
it strikes me as like, why would? And this is such a shitty thing to say, but like it strikes me as like a Battleborn situation. Of just like, hey, everybody's into these online games, and here we are with this one, and there's heroes to play, and they have different things. It's just like,
a little bit, yeah.
Why does anybody? The fact that I don't hear people talking about this, and again, kindoffunny.com/KFGD. If you are excited about this, let us know and talk to me about it. But it's one of those I have not seen anything where I'm like, yep, totally. That's a guaranteed success.
Like, I'm really surprised by how little people are sort of like, how little maybe they're talking about it. I don't know, but how little people are talking about it. Considering this is the studio that made like the Red Faction games were great.
Hell yeah,
like,
they were.
And the remade, the like re-release ones they did where they brought it back with Armageddon and stuff. Those games were brilliant. Like Red Faction Guerrilla was super. Saints Row was a series that everyone wrote off from the start as a Grand Theft Auto knockoff. The first one was great. It definitely, worked out because GTA hadn't come to that platform yet. But like subsequent games are really good. Like it found its own identity and it had a strong identity. And maybe they jumped the shark a bit on the fourth one, but they like self-awarely jumped the shark. So they've been really good at like selling games that people might not necessarily be fans of yet.
Right.
So I kind of think I don't want to write them off because like they have a brilliant lineage.
That's the thing is like,
but like
Volition, an incredibly talented studio. This is not a knock against them. It's just from everything I've seen from the announced that game, I'm like, what is this game? Can you what like not what is the mechanically of it, like why would I play this? What is drawing me to it? And I haven't found it. And interestingly enough, I was Googling just to find like more information about it. Because again, where Big Angry Dad brings up the fact that it's coming out August 15th.
It's crazy.
Which is insane that I don't know more about it. But the first thing I find is an article from 18 hours ago at PC Gamer. Agents of Mayhem is dumb fun, but it needs to be even dumber. And here's this. I wanted Agents of Mayhem to be Saints Row for the sequel, but it's not really that. And to be honest, I'm not sure what it is. It's not a terrible game. I liked it more than Wes did, but it certainly won't be a remarkable one either. So literally, and I'm not trying to say, like to me or whatever, pat on the back, but I'm like, all the trailers, all the promotional periods, and the fact that no one's fucking talking about it made me go, okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're excited for a Big Angry Dad. I hope everybody is. Right in. Well, I guess already. If you are excited about Agents of Mayhem and you want to play with Big Angry Dad on his gamer tag, it's big space angry space dad 82, all one word though. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Volition's an incredibly talented studio, but I'm going to be watching those reviews and seeing if anybody actually adopts that community and jumps into it.
It's going to be interesting to see whether or not it doesn't feel like they're throwing all of their thrust behind it. Maybe that's just because I haven't had visibility on it.
Yeah.
Maybe Volition are working on a different thing as well.
Sure.
And this is just like something that's sort of like feeding them in that interim period.
Yeah.
I hope it's fun, but
again, I that's how, and that's the thing. It's always about video games,
right?
I hope it just because I think it looks weird and bland from the trailer. I hope it's successful for Volition. They're great folks. I hope that the fans find it and have a community that thrives with it. I'm not trying to take the fun out of your sales, Big Angry Dad. Don't get angry at me, Big Angry Dad. Just putting it out there. I don't know if that one's going to be a slam dunk.
Play Dream Daddy.
Play Dream Daddy, Big Angry Dad. It'll calm you down. You'll be moderately angry, Dad. Mark wrote in and says, "Hey, Greg and Andrea /Danny /Tim. Also, hello to Kevin." Now, we pointed this out yesterday, Mark. You are all very lazy. At the end of the show, I announced who's going to be on the next show.
Right.
It's not that hard. You can piece together who's going to be on the next show. Tomorrow, it's Andrea. There you go. You know what I mean?
It's not me for a little.
Yeah, Danny's running away again. He had enough your love and support. Now he wants to get it. Mighty Number 9 had a rough launch, and a year out, it is still having problems. It just got out physical copies, some of which are too big to fit in the box and not colored in.
Have you seen these?
No. What is he talking about? The disc is too big for the box?
No. Even better, there is no disc. So I saw a video on Twitter right before we went on. I retweeted it. It's one of the backers of the Kickstarter at the $60 level. Finally got their boxed copy.
Yeah.
It is in a zip-locked like plastic sheet. It is a flat box that you have to construct yourself. You have to like pop it open and do it.
God.
And a manual that is too big to fit in the box.
I gotcha.
There is no copy of the game.
Jesus God. This fucking thing, man.
$60 for cardboard and paper. A year late.
Yet other games like Shovel Knight and Shadowrun have had unbridled success starting on Kickstarter. How do you see the future of Kickstarter games? Will they continue to be a mixed bag, or will the good games rise to the top? Kickstarter's interesting.
Yeah.
Remember when fucking Tim Schafer and Double Fine went there, and that was it was a revolution, man. When they did that and that was changed, and everyone rushed there. And even when that first round of everyone was there,
$1 million.
It was happening over and over and over. And now it is so hard. You see people go there all the time, and just you can't hack it. You just can't make it easy anymore.
Totally. And even like for Tim, that's probably the thing he gets the most shit about now.
Oh, sure.
Is that there's still this,
well, that and his
angry mob
sock puppet,
right, of people who think that he took the money and ran.
Sure.
Which is ridiculous when you consider how big that game ended up being, and that they created a documentary series about the whole thing where you can see how they made it. But yeah, it's like anything. Services like that live and die on the sort of how people feel comfortable with it. Yeah. I mean, I feel like Patreon is sort of a similar case 100%. Where like they're probably very wary about growing too big because they like having creators on it who are doing right by their communities and producing stuff and all that. But yeah, it's weird how like there was a time where I would go to Kickstarter for all of my like early access stuff, right?
Sure.
Like, I was like, I wonder what's on now, and I'll do that and then get a thing. And I still do for things like books and
interesting.
Bits and bobs like that. I think the latest round of what are they called? Not Bosky books. What are they called?
Bosky. That's right.
It is Bosky.
Yeah, like Alexis and stuff.
Yes. The latest round of that just went live on Kickstarter as well. And there's a couple of like a F1 board game I did, but I haven't done a video game in a while.
Yeah, that's the thing is I feel like I remember being at IGN. There was just finally a day where everybody was like, no more. We can't write about every Kickstarter that's happening because it was, and then it was like unless it was like when Dennis Dyack did one. You know what I mean? Like, okay, that's newsworthy. It's different.
3 Worlds.
Yeah.
Two Worlds 3. I think games are a bad fit for Kickstarter.
Really?
Because games take so long to make.
Sure.
And it's not like a book, and it's not like a board game, and it's not like a magazine or anything like that. Like games take, even for indie studios, somewhere in the realm 3 to 5 years. You can make smaller games, you can make bigger games, but like that's what you're looking at. And nobody wants to spend that much money and then we'll have to wait that long, and no creator surely wants to take all that money and have to use it for that long, to be like owing something for that long. Is
have it the sword of Damocles constantly hanging over your head, right?
So I think it's not necessarily a good fit, and I think early access, for instance, is probably actually
a better way
of
interesting
doing that.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like for me, earlier, I think it was last week, maybe it was in the beginning of this week, we had a question that didn't make it to, it made it to the sheet but not to air, which was basically like, it was a Kickstarter question, like how do you guys now go through what you back and don't back on Kickstarter?
Right.
And I rarely back anything ever on Kickstarter anymore. And it's because I think finally now it's to the point where I think it was in my head when they launched, of like, and for people too, of like, you say what you will about Double Fine and everything else, it was like, hey, big studios don't want to make adventure games anymore. We're going to make an adventure game because we think there's an audience here. Yes. And there was. And so for me, it was like, oh man, the things I've backed, like, Hansen versus Predator, like Chris Hansen, like he's going after more child predators. Fuck yeah, here you go, or whatever. And then like Apartment is a game I backed or whatever. And there's been a few hands on like that, but it's like I do it, and then it's totally that I forget about it.
Totally.
And it's that thing of like, just recently the Hansen is on my mind because it hit me up like, hey, is this still your mailing address? We need to send you your autograph photo of Chris Hansen. I was like, fuck yeah. But it's like, are they up somewhere? I don't even know if those episodes are up. I'm not. Kickstarter, I think, has this idea that you're on the messaging system and the platform, and I see the update emails come through, and it's like right to spam or whatever. I don't need to know what's going on. When is Apartment coming out? That's all I want to know. When are any of the games or movies or anything I've backed on? And it's like I backed a book about wrestling video games forever ago, and I still get updates about that, but the book isn't done. It's just like
I've had stuff that's finished that I still get updates on. Yeah, because even once it's been done, if you're on that list, they'll still keep
exactly. So now it is, I think, definitely like, okay, somebody's making a very specific. Someone is making a Superman game. I'll back that. You know what I mean? Like,
and that's kind of what Kickstarter was to start. It felt like that special. Oh, this would not get made if it wasn't for me. Yeah. As opposed to, oh, this is just a way for me to pre-order games. I think it needs to be special for you to do that. And like, we both run businesses that are based on monthly subscription, right? And there's an element of like Kickstarter being sort of part of that, because in the same realm, because a lot of people give it based on goodwill. Some people do because they want stuff back from it, but some people do just because they support your work and they think you're rad. Yeah. And that's cool. It's really difficult to like budget that sort of stuff, even on a month by month. So I don't understand, like, I think it's not irresponsible, but it must be incredibly difficult to sort of try and budget a project over the course of 3 years based on one lump sum. Like, I don't think it's like feasible business wise. I think like at least you've got a little bit of wiggle room when it's on a month by month, because some months are really high and some months are low, and then people get injured or get sick, or like there's so many things that happen.
The way we've always talked about Patreon for us, and kind of funny, is the fact that we love it because it's hold your feet to the fire and it's instantaneous feedback. It isn't, you don't give us the money and walk away. You give us the money and then see what we're doing and expect results. And it was so heartening to me, when we moved into the studio, when right after kind of Final 3 this year and stuff, to see like, all right, cool, numbers went up organically. It wasn't us pushing it. It wasn't. People looked at the content or looked at what we're doing, like, okay, great. They're answering, they're whatever, and they got on board with it. Whereas, like, a great example right now in my life, right, is the fact that when Friday the 13th went up as a Kickstarter, and I went and looked at it, and I'm like, sounds cool, but I don't like multiplayer games, and I don't know the studio from a hole in the wall. I'm not giving them money, but I'll buy the game. And then you jump ahead, and now I'm like addicted to the game, and I buy the game. And like yesterday, I was watching this hour and 18-minute video about how to be a better fighter as a counselor. I was like, it's interesting because if I could go back in time and tell myself how much I love this game, sure, back them, do all this stuff, support it. You know what I mean? And get your name as a counselor or whatever.
And think about the stuff that you kickstarted that you probably haven't even touched or opened.
Yeah, I should go. This would be a fun GOG topic of like going through my Kickstarter and actually, has any of this come through? Do I know anything about it? What the fuck's going on?
Yeah. Crazy stuff.
Tom wrote in thekindoffunny.com/KFGD and says, "Good morning, Greg and Danny." Now, he knew Danny's name, which I appreciate, but he keeps putting 2 G's in my name, which I hate. On the show yesterday, Greg and Andrea discussed the quality of PC to console ports. Greg didn't seem to have much faith in the upcoming console version of Sims 4 since he believed it would be a downgraded experience. There seems to be a lot of caution / pessimism, not just around PC ports, but ports and remasters in general. Having worked on various ports and remasters such as Prison Architect Console Edition and the Lego Harry Potter Collection, it can be quite frustrating when people immediately worry about the quality of your game, or reviewers don't notice the improvements, especially when you've worked really hard to make the best product possible. How about you guys name some of your favorite ports and why, so that we can dispel some of the negativity surrounding them? Love the show and keep up the great work, Tom. Good question, Tom.
That's a really fascinating question from a person who also was involved in porting a mouse and keyboard centric like building game like Prison Architect to a console, because that's the problem that my brain goes to with The Sims.
Yeah,
is like mouse and keyboard, that type of
one of the ones I was talking about yesterday was like how City Skylines is coming to PlayStation 4 in August, and I'm like, I can't wait. I'm like, but will it work? And I know it's already on Xbox, so I can check it out. But I'm like, well, I want trophies, of course. So. And to Tom's question, I don't mean to paint with such a broad brush. The problem I have with the question, because it's a great question, is the fact that when a port's done really well, you don't even think of it as a port.
Totally.
You don't even stop to think that, oh yeah, like this came over from somewhere else super late, changed to this. Like I think I put it on here. I think Fear 2. Right. I think I reviewed for IGN. Maybe I don't think it was. I reviewed Fear 1, but Fear 2 I remember being really good. I think. Right. I always talk about Rise of the Tomb Raider, which came a year later to PlayStation 4, but had all the content bundled in, did the PlayStation VR thing, did a whole bunch of cool shit to say, this is a different thing. That was a good one, but I know that's not what you're asking for. You're asking more for PC games that came over later and did this. Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think of like the NES version of like Dune 2 maybe. Was that a thing? Well, that's the thing, is that like ports originally weren't different consoles had different architectures, like hardware architectures. So it wasn't the case of you had to rebuild games for each system. So that's, and stuff didn't all come out day and date as well. So that was just the way things work, is that stuff came out on a main system and then went to everything else. And that's not really the case now. I mean, that's what, even the Switch, right? Like even they've unified their architecture somewhat so that it's not as crazy. But PlayStation 3 versus Xbox 360 is the ideal situation of look at all those games that went to both, and just like PlayStation 3 one sometimes had some wobbly shit going on. That does Fallout and all that. Because of the cell architecture against some more sort of x64 or x86 stuff that was happening over there. So I think my brain can't think of any, because to your point, it's
when it's done right, it's done right. And you don't.
It's like sound designing games.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know sort of.
I guess what and this is, stick with me because I know it's a loaded gun here. Didn't Portal always ran? Well, that wasn't. Portal came out with the orange box. The orange box came out on PC at the same time too.
Yes, but the games had come out previously. So Half-Life, for instance, had never come out.
But that didn't run well, I thought, on PlayStation 4
Did it
or
not?
something. I thought.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
I'm not sure if Portal had. Yeah, I think the orange box
Portal was brand new forever with orange box.
But I think it had come out on PC prior.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. Let us know.
I don't know. Kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. We hate PCs. Greg Fan 69 wrote in to kindoffunny.com/KFG and says, what's the deal with LEGO Dimensions? At E3, they talked about upcoming year 2 packs and said nothing at all about year 3 despite their 3-year plan. The last year 2 packs come out September 15th. Isn't it a little suspicious that they have nothing to say about year 3? With Disney dead and Skylanders dying out, is LEGO Dimensions on its way out as well? Parentheses, note, the official LEGO Dimensions Twitter dispelled any rumors that LEGO Dimensions was dying, but of course they would do that. I know Greg liked LEGO Dimensions. I was wondering what he thinks the deal is. Back when we were still doing... back before this show, and God, if it was a morning show or if it was P.S. I Love You, we talked about Brick and Choir had put up this giant thing that was like multiple, like Brick and Choir, they know their shit about the LEGO games, obviously, by the name. And they had sources inside that were like, it's LEGO Dimensions is dead. Right. And the idea that what they're going to do is the year 2 content they announced, they're going to stretch out and they're going to make it last into year 3 and then just quietly sunset the entire game. And I think that's exactly that happened long before E3, and that's exactly what happened. Where I remember when they were trying to book me appointments at E3, I was like, cool. Is it new stuff or is it like you're showing me Powerpuff Girls and all that stuff? Like and Teen Titans Go. I was like, cool. Yeah. That's the shit you announced as year 2, and you are stretching out now, and that's seems to be the plan. The fact that it's all quiet on the Western Front, I 100% believe that's what's happened. Totally. Is that it went from the Brick and Choir piece is fascinating because it's like they went from pushing LEGO Dimensions so hard, and then at the all hands company meeting like January, it was like the last bullet point, and they were like, nothing. We're not gonna.
It's amazing how quickly the bottom fell out of that. Like there was just too many games in there at the same time.
Well, the thing about it that I don't, and I know we'll never ever get, is I would love to know the numbers, because that game. Yeah. It must not. It didn't. I'm sure it must have been. It just didn't make enough money. But it had a fan base. It has a fan base. And granted,
so did Infinity.
I know. Granted, like I'm a LEGO Dimensions guy, so I was talking about it all the time. So people tweet about it all the time. But it's like I know like Trevor and Joey and all these people are buying them, and so it is this thing of like, What happened? Was it just not enough? Did one
right? Well, that's the thing is that between Disney and Lego, these are companies that are very, very big and profitable,
right?
And so it's not a case of maybe it wasn't profitable, maybe it wasn't profitable enough.
Yeah.
So.
Final question comes from the Assassin, aka AK-47. The Assassin, AK-47.
An assassin would not use a fucking Kalashnikov. That's ridiculous.
True.
An assassin. Stealthy.
Hello.
Get right behind you and then.
Hello, Greg and Danny. Sit back, Greg, because I have a bone to pick with your Irish co-host.
Oh, shit.
Danny, you son of a bitch.
Whoa.
Last week, you and Andrea listed your wish list for the Nintendo 64 Classic, and I have to say I'm highly disappointed with both of you. No mention of Conker's Bad Fur Day. Are you fucking kidding me? Danny, how could you forget a top 5 N64 game? Did you not play this gem? Come on, Greg. Put some sense into the Irish cream of yours. Danny, you have some explaining to do. P.S. Don't worry, Andrea will feel my raft when she gets back on the show.
Not your raft. Keep your canoe away from me.
She's just talking and then like, boom, this raft hits her in the head.
And he's standing there with his oar, his paddle. Your voice is incredibly aggressively booming.
Thank you.
I feel like I've got shell shock.
It's
like Dunkirk all over again.
People. That's how I get Andy.
Oh my god.
I like to keep him on his toes.
Yeah, look, as somebody whose first N64 he got like 9 months ago.
Oh Jesus God!
I never played Conker's Bad Fur Day.
With all due respect, Conker's is not a great game.
It's got a 92 on Metacritic.
Well, I mean, because it was the last N64 game. It's what we were all holding on to.
Right.
I was waiting for it, and then when No Mercy, the cartridge resetted me for like the 5th time, I was like, fuck all this, and traded it in for the PlayStation 4.
Wasn't Conker's Bad Fur Day like a sort of... Wasn't it sort of like a PS4? You took a break there for 15 years.
Traded it all in, got the credit, slept, woke up, bought a PlayStation 4.
It was like more adult kind of.
It was. That was the idea. Yeah. And it was just like, exactly.
I'm a squirrel, but I'm gonna fucking say things like dick.
Yeah, exactly. And they had like Matrix references in it or whatever. And I was like, whatever. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sorry, bro.
That's not right, actually.
Each to their own.
Maybe it was the remaster.
I think Speedball is a pretty good game. Do you like that one?
Time to squad up. This is where one of you best friends writes into kindafunny.com/KFGD, gives me your username on whatever it is you play on, and we get you friends to play stuff with. You can put in whatever you want, and this is definitely an interesting one. Julian G wrote in. He needs friends on Xbox. I don't know if it's Xbox One, 360, or just the original Xbox, but Julian G says Xbox. His name is JG space skills space 02. That's numeral 0, numeral 2. So Julian G on Xbox, JG Skills 02, and in the field he said for why he needs help or why he needs friends, he says, I am gluten free.
Let's get Tyrud and him to pal up.
JG Skills 02 needs people on Xbox because he is gluten free.
There you go.
All right. I got a rotating segment for you. This is blowing the dust off. Whew. Bad PSN name. We haven't done a bad PSN name in a long time. Of course, you know, ladies and gentlemen, Shuhei Yoshida hates you and won't let you change your PSN name.
Daniel Dwyer 2 over here.
Every week you write in, or every day, I guess, write in with a bad PSN name that I'd prefer to be yours, begging Shuhei to let you change your name. This one comes from Zach. Zach writes in and says, hey, Greg and Danny. Hope you're both doing well. I know Greg doesn't love to see other people's bad PSN names and only wants you to put in yours, but I'm happy with mine, G Squad 193.
Nice.
So, someone else's is what I have here today. I was playing Rocket League the other day and my teammate's name was none other than poop_sauce_69. You read that right. Someone's PSN name is literally just diarrhea_69. The things people come up with sometimes blow my mind, but poop_sauce, and I won our game, so we cool.
Nice.
Thanks for the new show. Keep it coming. We all know it's great.
Yeah, Rocket League's a constant source of really bad names.
We had to cut them off at one point.
Right.
Because so many PC players were coming over there and having crazy ass names.
And Steam just don't give a fuck.
No, and that's why I just let it go. I was like,
you get some real nasty stuff actually on the Steam stuff. Whenever I see that, I'm like, I'm going to try like 4 times
and they're
harder.
way better.
Yeah,
they just get you every time.
Danny,
it's time for you to tell me what we got wrong. Remember, if you watch the show live as we recorded on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames, you can go to kindafunny.com/you're wrong. Keep us honest. Shout out to the forum mods who clear out the mechanism each and every time.
But it's full of crud right now. Quick aside, remember I said Daniel Dwyer 2 is my PSN name?
Yeah.
I wish I picked Daniel Dwyer 1, and it reminded me, because I have Daniel Dwyer, and it reminded me of, do you remember Slipknot's website?
No, I don't remember Slipknot's website, Danny.
Slipknot.com was taken, and back then there was this whole thing where people would just go, oh, whatever, Slipknot 1. You just add one to the end.
Yeah.
Slipknot.com is still taken. Slipknot.1.com is still their official website. That's fucking. I love the internet. First one in, Capitalist Pig. Canadian football 2017 is PC and Xbox only right now. PS4 will come later this year.
Thank you.
He put a quote in here as well. You can see it on Slash You're Wrong. Basically, Microsoft was a publishing partner with them, and PlayStation deal only came through in October, so they're doing first on that. Each and every weekday. Says
fuck,
Tiki
I was going to add that. We were going to add that after last because Andrea called me on it and she was right.
He said, you're welcome, Andrea. A bunch of people said that Infamous First Light was free on PlayStation
Thank
Plus
you. That is
January of 2015. Fun game as well, that one.
Yeah.
Blood Dragon was as well,
yes,
actually, some people said.
Perfect.
Hansen vs. Predator has been out on Chris Hansen's website, crimewatchdaily.com, since September 2016.
Well, that's what I do with my money. I flush it away to Chris Hansen and never watch the content.
Go check it out.
Thank you for fact-checking me on that one, guys.
Yeah, that's a pretty great one. Thank you so much to Cash for saying that. Capitalist Pig also said Dune 2 never made it to the NES or SNES, but it was, however, reported to the Sega Genesis. That's the one I was thinking of.
Genesis.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. Saints Row Gat Out of Hell, also according to Vane, was a standalone DLC game that came out on PlayStation Plus. So it's in good company.
All right, good. Danny, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks so much.
You mentioned it briefly, but here I want you to shamelessly pimp the new show. You said if you missed the point, this is like the point again.
Yes, my old show on GameSpot, The Point. Got a new show called Danny's Disc Club, which I have to say disc really well, so I don't say Dick Club.
Danny's Dick Club.
That's for patrons only.
I'd join that one.
Patrons do get access to the show 24 hours earlier than anyone else, but it's public now. You can go watch it. It's over on my own channel. I didn't put on No Clip because I want that to just distribute to dogs. So it's on my own YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Danny O'Dwyer.
Gotcha.
No one or two.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm out. I'm flying to Poland.
It's like a week till you come back here.
Yeah, I'm in Tennessee for a secret project for the weekend, and then off to Poland for a week of filming, and then I'll be back after that.
All right. Well, safe travels, buddy.
Yeah, looking forward to getting back.
If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Kind of Funny Games Daily thing. I don't know why I said the. I fucked that up. Sorry, don't judge me. This has been Kind of Funny Games Daily each and every weekday here on a whole bunch of platforms. Nice. We jump into the nerdy news about video games we want you to know about. We get nerdy with it. We answer your questions. We have a good time. If you like that, you can watch live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. You can support us over on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. You can get the podcast all over the place. Please, no matter where you get it, on one of the things, support the other two things. It means a lot to us. It's great. If you're watching live right now, Nick and Tim are coming in to do an Attack on Titan watch along, so you can do that. But if you're not, go play some video games and have a good time. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.
So stop saying horrible things.
You had to be a